As this case began to, implode on itself, I thought the chances for Trump were 50-50, you know. But after hearing what I just heard, I think it's now highly likely that he will be convicted. Not because you got a corrupt DA in Alvin Bragg, which you do, and not even because you have a jury pool that is suffering from Trump derangement syndrome, although that may be part of it. It's because of the judge. And when the judge has it in for you, there's really nothing you can do. I'm not going to bury the lead. We're going to go right into it, okay? It's Tuesday, May 21st, 2024. I'm Stuart Allister.
They're going to be under quite strong limitations. The jury probably does not know that they had this witness ready to testify on the election issues.
The person that was about to testify was a campaign finance officer who absolutely knows the law and who told everyone there were no violations. There were no campaign violations, period. But what do you do with that? Well, take a listen.
The problem for the defense is that the judge curtailed his testimony so much that his testimony may actually reinforce the prosecutors, only in the sense that since he would not be able to explain that there's no election violation here, that he would just sort of reaffirm that this is a core issue in the case. What Smith was going to say is that there is no election violation, but the judge wouldn't let him go into those areas. Now, many judges would have taken that position of, I tell the jury what the law is. The problem is what the judge has done with the rest of the case. The reason this witness was needed is because this judge has allowed the jury to hear falsely that there were campaign violations, and there were not.
Now, I just want to hammer that down. The jury is under the impression, because the prosecution and the judge allowed it, okay, they think they're of the mind that there were campaign violations. There weren't. In fact, there was no crime at all. However, the judge allowed that. A judge that wasn't corrupt, that isn't corrupt, would have stopped and said, whoa, that's not in facts. We don't know that. But this judge didn't. You see, my guess is, again, I wasn't there, but the way you get here, the prosecution says when Donald Trump committed, campaign violations, when he violated campaign law, and then, of course, the defense says objection, the judge says overruled, and just allows it to stand. And then when you get a guy that's actually an expert, you make sure that you tailor every word that comes out of his mouth that isn't the truth. There were no campaign violations. You just heard it. So if you thought for a second that, maybe somehow I think that, like they say, the fix is in. Here, it's only about, 54 seconds, but you got to hear this again.
And so I'm quite convinced that this jury thinks that there was a verified and established campaign violation committed and connected to Trump.
That's what they believe. Here, you got to listen to this again.
They're going to be under quite strong limitations. The jury probably does not know that they had this witness ready to testify on the election issues. The problem for the defense,
the jury doesn't even know. They were not. They don't even know. There were no violations.
is that the judge curtailed his testimony so much that his testimony might actually reinforce the prosecutors, only in the sense that since he would not be able to explain that there's no election violation here, that he would just sort of reaffirm that this is a core issue in the case. What Smith was going to say is that there is no election violation, but the judge wouldn't let him go into those areas. Now, many judges would have taken that position of, I tell the jury what the law is. The problem is what the judge has done with the rest of the case. The reason this witness was needed is because this judge has allowed the jury to hear falsely that there were campaign violations, and there were not. And so I'm quite convinced that this jury thinks that there was a verified and established campaign violation committed and connected to Trump.
For that reason and that reason alone, I think, absolutely. It is highly likely that he is convicted. And so Joe Biden can enter a debate and say, I'm debating a, convicted felon. Hold on a second, because hang on, I got one more video for you, because you got to see how corrupt this judge is. Before we go any further, why don't you wreck that like button, subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and press that notification bell so you never miss an episode.
Dasha, tell us what happened there in the courtroom just a few minutes ago.
So one caveat here for you, Ryan, before I describe what we know, there are some blank spots for the press, because when Merchan cleared the courtroom, he cleared the press as well, and the monitors inside the overflow room that our colleagues are watching were also shut off, something that reporters were not happy about. They believe.
So when he cleared the courtroom because of Costello's testimony, which, by the way, it's so clear that the judge has it in for Donald Trump. He is literally, verbally bashing a witness on the stand, Costello, and he couldn't get a word in edgewise. And so when the judge is looking at him saying, are you trying to stare me down? It's like, no. Clears the courtroom, throws the press out. There's a reason that there aren't any cameras in this courtroom. There's a reason that he cleared the press. He doesn't want you to see what he's going to do. There's a reason that the only person that got a gag order was Donald Trump. The only person. Their key witness had a podcast. He's out there yelling, lock him up. No gag order. This is corruption.
They had the right to witness what was going on there. So there are a couple of blank spots for us. But from what we understand, Costello continued to make audible sounds, somewhat disrespectful faces per Merchan's reading, per the judge's reading, when he was sustaining objections from the prosecution. He was audible. He was loud. Our colleague Lisa Rubin, who's a lawyer, says Costello was perhaps the most disrespectful witness I have ever seen.
Because this judge doesn't deserve respect.
It seems that Judge Merchan had enough, said, you know what, we need to take a pause here, cleared the courtroom, and admonished Costello for disrupting the proceedings, essentially saying, you don't say strike it because I'm the only one who can strike it. You don't give me side eye and you don't roll your eyes. And if you don't like my ruling, you don't say geez. That's an exclamation we heard several times from Costello during his testimony
when a judge has it in for you, he is not partial. I mean, he is completely partial. He is not impartial. That's this judge. He is complete. And my guess is, and that's only I can piece this together, the machine, the Democratic machine got to him. Says, this is what you're going to do. Don't worry. We're probably going to give you, and this is probably how it happened. They probably dangled a higher court appointment, and we'll get you a promotion. And don't worry, as long as you carry our water. I can't see the jury coming back if they're in there. They go into deliberations thinking there were campaign violations. There were campaign law violations. Well, that's for a person that's suffering from Trump derangement syndrome. That's all you need. You don't need anything else. And then there's this, and this is probably the most pressing. These jurors know they are the Democrats' last defense from a Trump White House. These jurors know that the left will seek them out. The jurors know if they come back with the wrong verdict, there will be hell to pay. The jurors know the DOJ and the FBI will not help you. Do you guys remember? Because you may think that I'm being hyperbolic. I'm not. Do you remember when Brett Kavanaugh and the justices were being protested and it violated? I mean, it was a clear violation of law, federal law. What did Merrick Garland do? Absolutely nothing. He did nothing. He just let it slide. He didn't do anything. He just let them violate the law. What do you think he's going to do with these jurors that don't come back with the right verdict? I just hope that people can see this for what it is. But I don't know. When I heard that in my mind, I go, oh, okay. They want to make sure that the jury has something to sink their teeth into. And if you can say, yeah, but he broke the law. Campaign finance law, he broke those laws. Well, if they can go to the deliberations thinking that, they can come back with a conviction. And the judge would have allowed it. Now, on appeal, of course, it could be overturned. That's not the point. The point is, during an election season, that Donald Trump be a convicted felon. That's the point. That's the entire game plan. That's the point of this exercise. To make him a convicted felon. All right, that's it for now. If you like this video, smash that like button and subscribe. And if you're following me on the green platform, please press that follow button. And until the next time, God bless.